Okay. Hey there, wild things. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Becky, and it has been a minute. Clearly, I'm very bad at this whole consistently posting thing, and that's just my life. I don't post consistently anywhere these days, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to start posting a little bit more consistently, and the help with editor Tom. Hopefully that'll happen. In this video, I just kind of wanted to show you guys my current fascination or whatever. I don't know. Basically, one of my only resolutions for the new year was to make a book journal and document all the books that I'm reading. It's just a better way for me to track my book goal. Normally I just keep a piece of paper where I write down all the physical books I read or audiobooks, and then I add those to my Kindle Insights at the end of every year and just total up my books. But I was like, that's boring. And last year I discovered book journaling and how many people have these amazing book bullet journals, and I decided I wanted to do one. So this is my book journal. It is by Yop and Tom, and I really like it. It's not the color that I wanted, but I'm slowly falling in love with it. I will do a separate video that is an entire book journal tour for you guys to show you kind of like my layout, what I've done with the pages so far. This video, however, is just going to be April and my book roundup. So let's get started. So far in April, I have read 9, almost 10 books, which is pretty good. My goal for the year right now is 100, and that's about 8 books a month, 8 or 9. So having finished 10 books, especially with being on vacation for 2 weeks of the month, is really good. I'm very happy with that. So my monthly reading wrap up is the number of books I wanted to read versus the number of books I did read. So the number of books I obviously want to read each month is 8 or 8.3 if we're getting really finicky, but it's around 8 books. And the number I have finished so far is 9, and I haven't technically finished the last one. I'm filming this a couple days before the end of the month, but ideally I will finish that book before the month is out, so we're gonna say 10 books. The book I was most excited to read this month, I actually got through quite a few audiobooks. I was in the United States towards the beginning half of this month. I was in Norway in the middle, and I am back in the UK here at the end. Whilst in the United States, I do drive a lot. I was driving over an hour and a half to a ballet studio once a week. And so it was like 3 hours there and back, and that's just the perfect time to listen to some audiobooks and really crank those out. One of the girls I follow on Book Talk, I do not remember her handle at the moment. We'll put it somewhere here. She says that the reason she's able to finish so many books, she's one of those girls that finishes like 300 books in the year. I'm like, how? One of the ways she does it is through audiobooks, and she's one of those people that can read multiple books at once. That's not for me. But another way she does it is that her Audible is set to like 2 times speed or something. So she is able to blast through some of these super fast books. I have decided I want to be one of those people. So my Audible is currently at 1.35 speed, and ideally I'd like to work up to 1.5 speed, and that just helps so much. The book I was most excited to read was actually on Audible back in March, the very last day of March, I think. Actually, let me tell you. So I listened to Hunter by Mercedes Lackey on Audible and finished that March 17th, and it was so good. It was a 4-star read for me, and the first book I read in April was the second in the trilogy, which is called Apex. and it was one of the books I was most excited to read this month, and that's what I filled in this blank. Apex got 3 stars. It is kind of like a monster hunter post-apocalyptic magic series. It's so good. I just had a couple issues with it as it developed, mostly that I thought the pacing of it was weird, and the pacing felt more as if it would be a 4-book series and not a 3-book series. But other than that, definitely recommend you guys go read it. Again, that's Hunter as the first book by Mercedes Lackey, and Apex was the second. So yes, that was the book I was most excited to read this month. The most common genre of the month. I think it's fantasy by far, and not even romantic fantasy, which is probably normally the books I read the most. This time it was pure fantasy. I ended up finishing the Hunter trilogy this month, and then I read the second in the, what is it called? Kingdom series, Kingdom something. So in the series tracker in March, or maybe it wasn't even March, maybe I read this in January or last year, I don't remember. I did not write this, that was before the book journal, but I read Kingdom of the Wicked. Adored that, just adored it. Was so excited for the second. Oh, sorry, I did not tell you the author of that. That's Kerri Maniscalco, Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco. This month I read the second via Audible, which is Kingdom of the Cursed, and there's one more book coming out, Kingdom of the Feared, but not until the end of the year. So between the 3 audiobooks that were pure fantasy, and then, let's see, another audiobook that's pure fantasy, it was mostly a fantasy month. I also finished ACOTAR this month, even though I had anticipated finishing it in March, and that was just, that's a whole thing. But yes, mostly fantasy for April, which makes me happy. It makes the bookshelf in my tracker look really interesting because there's a lot of, you know, of the same fantasy color. Let's see. Last book read, last now and next, basically. Last now and next. The last book I read, what I'm reading now and what I'm reading next. The last book I read was called Killer Beauty, and it was terrible. 2 stars. I thought it was going to be so good because she's an assassin, it's reverse harem, they're all assassins, and I was like, yes, it's going to be cool, it's going to be like, I don't know, violent, I don't know, that's just, it was what I was looking for. I think this is another book talk recommendation, and it's fallen flat for me, like terribly so. Yeah, 2 stars. The book I'm currently reading now, I have on my Audible, just started The Sword of Shannara. I have been wanting to start the series for quite some time, managed to get it on Audible in a sale, and I'm just very excited to listen to that. But I'm also on my Kindle reading Within Obsession and Lies currently, which is the book I hope to finish in a couple days by the end of the month. And the book I'm going to read next, I have not decided on. I have a couple options to choose from. My Kindle Unlimited library is filled. Let's see. Oh, maybe it's going to be this. Taken by the Picosa Warlord. It's part of the Taken to Varaxia series. I've read the first 2. This is actually book 7, but it was recommended to me by someone who thought I would like this one in particular, so I think that's what I'm going to read next. Yeah, I actually really liked the first 2 of the Taken to Varaxia series. It falls into a similar vein as Ice Planet Barbarians, which is another series I read like 5 of. Maybe we'll get back into those this summer and finish those out. But that's a 26-book series. I don't know if I have the fortitude for it. So is Taken to Varaxia. I think there's like 13 or so already. But yeah, I think Taken to, Taken By, the Picosa Warlord, is going to be my next read, and hopefully it'll be, 4 or 5 stars, just like the other 2 I've read. The spiciest book of the month is called No Coincidence by Tiffany Patterson. I really liked this book. I think I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, 4 stars. The main male character is just everything. His name is Connor. He's something else. He's super sexy. He has this like big energy. He was just really well written. The main character, her name is like Reha, something like that. And what I liked about her is that she felt like a real person, like a real character. This is an interracial contemporary romance. So she is black and he is white. And I really just felt like Reisha could be me, could be a friend of mine, could be someone else I know. Just her habits, her questions, her concerns, her approach to life just felt, for me, really realistic. And that's what I liked about this book. So it is also the book that I'd recommend this month. No Coincidence, again by Tiffany Patterson, and it is also quite spicy. So I checked that out. The most common medium of the book. How did I read most of my books this month? Was actually via Audible. More than half of my books were Audible. And the most hours I spent reading were Audible, definitely. And then, my least favorite book of the month was Killer Beauty at 2 stars. Though, I'm not gonna lie, ACOTAR came a close second at 2.5. Now, this book has so much hype. It has such a dedicated fan base, and I'm too far in the fandom to have not had read this book, right? It's all over my TikTok feed. It's coming up on my Instagram. It keeps getting recommended to me on both my Kindle and my Audible feeds. So I was like, screw it, I'm gonna read it. I own a digital copy and I own a physical copy, and it still took me 3 months to finish. It's something about the entire middle section of that book that just, I don't know. I couldn't get into it. There was nothing in it for me. It felt like the very beginning and the end chunk, if you've read this book, you know what I mean. That end chunk, riveting. Great. What happened to the middle? What happened to the middle? So I did not love ACOTAR, but everyone's telling me, oh, read the second one. It just gets better as you go, gets better as you go. And that's true. Some authors, get their legs as they continue. For example, I've read some of Sarah J. Maas's other series. Throne of Glass. Really like that so far. I think I'm on the 4th book, depending on the reading order. But I remember the first book I liked, but I thought could be better. And then the second book was so much better. And then the third book was even better. So she does develop her stories and build as she goes in a really great way. So I'm going to give book 2 a try. But if book 2 ain't it, I'm coming for you, Book Talk, because that's your fault. I bought 2 copies of this book. So anyway, that is this month's monthly roundup. I do not yet have my totals for you, like the number of pages I read or anything like that, just because I still have 1 book to finish. But I have no favorites this month, like nothing to add to my favorites or the bracket for best book of the year or anything like that. I do not have any 5-star reads, not one this month, unfortunately. But I also didn't DNF any books. I came really close to DNFing a book, but did not end up doing that. I did finish it. So for May, who knows what books we have in store. I have 10 physical books here in the house on this bookshelf behind me. So hopefully we will get through some of those, and the May monthly roundup will be really interesting. In one of my next videos, I'm going to do a tour of my book journal for you. And then I will have some other interesting content coming, hopefully. Thank you guys who are my subscribers so much for sticking around, even though I'm not posting so consistently. And if you're new here, please don't forget to like and subscribe, because I appreciate you staying along for whatever this journey is that we're doing. Okay? Okay. Please don't forget to leave any book recommendations in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!